All right, we start today's adventure off as the crew of the Navajo has finished their lovely jaunt into the Gamma Quadrant, safe and sound. We start today's session off in the captain's ready room.
Where's the stuffed fish hanging on the walls?
Not in the budget yet. Uh, Captain, you get a comms from the bridge saying you have a priority one message.
I picked my monitor.
We'll just can't downsize the token, but on the view screen, Captain, I am Lieutenant um, Kisima Nira, Admiral Gibson's fleet liaison officer. I've come to give you your orders. I'm messaging you for your orders, sir. And she gives a smile.
Very good, Lieutenant. Anything special about these orders that they couldn't just been sent by subspace text?
It is a bit of a peculiar one. Admiral Gibson is wanting to be a bit more hands-on, but your orders are that you need to head to the Havian system, where a long-range probes appeared that they've indicated that a detected a spacecraft from the system entering warp. It appears that the Havians have achieved faster than light travel, and Starfleet would like to assign you the role to make first contact with the Havians. Unfortunately, not a lot is known about them. I do apologize that they've been technologically advanced for quite a while. They just now achieved warp technology.
Fleet Science hasn't sent observers out there?
They've had space travel for actually 200 years. They're just slow to develop warp technology, apparently. Um, it's more of a distance related approach.
One of the few drawbacks to the Treaty of Algernon is not being able to sneak up on worlds like that.
Indeed, sir. Um, we'll note though, Starfleet does have a priority on this, given the threat of the Dominion now poses. This system could, in fact, be resource rich. So he would like to endeavor to seek some sort of diplomatic relations and even potentially trade opportunities within the limits of the Prime Directive, of course.
Now, Prone gets a bit of a concerned look on his face at that. That's awful quick to be bringing a new warp capable species along.
Indeed,
Where
but this region could become volatile and it could pose interest to other parties as well.
is intelligence expecting other parties to be involved?
No, not at this time. Uh, we don't think that anyone's detected their jaunt into the unknown just yet.
All right. So my orders are to proceed directly there, do some investigation, learn a little bit about the people, and then initiate first contact, hopefully diplomatic relations in the framework for a trade negotiation.
Potentially, yes, or at least help develop to the lines that eventually we could develop some sort of trade opportunities there.
Staying, for a newly warp capable species, with their thing they're probably going to be most interested in is technology. Most species are. We might have grumbled when the Vulcans brought us along slowly, but it was probably best for us humans to come along at the pace the Vulcans set for us.
As stated, Admiral Gibson has given you quite a leeway on this, so your judgment is whatever judgment you come to with the Havians. I'm sure the Federation Council will agree with.
Understood. Is there anything in the Admiral's files that's not publicly available through the regular Starfleet database?
Um, Unfortunately, not. We've only been able to observe them through long-range sensor scans to at least avoid detection of the Havians. They do apparently monitor their system quite intensely.
It's almost as if they either believe or know there's someone else out here. Very well, Lieutenant. Give the Admiral my regards and tell him we are on our way.
Yes, sir. And good luck.
Thank you.
Lieutenant Nair out. And she cuts to communications.
Everyone will hit the intercom to the bridge. Khan, this is the captain.
Go ahead, sir.
Of course, for the Havian system, I've got coordinates headed to your console shortly. Bring us at a warp outside the system, but get us there. Let's do this at our maximum cruising speed.
Understood, sir.
As soon as you have the course laid in, go ahead and get us headed that way. And send Lieutenant Ryan, if you would.
Right away, sir.
Enter.
You called for me, sir?
Yes, Lieutenant. I've got a task for you. We just got our orders from Starfleet and are headed on our way to make first contact with the people known as the Havians. There is very little Starfleet knows about them, but I want you to collate everything we do know, which has been gathered primarily from long-range probes, and prepare a briefing for 3 hours from now.
Sounds good, sir. Do you want this briefing in any particular order, or just all known information, basic front?
I'll leave it up to your discretion to decide what's most important. We're going to be going blind on this one, but let's take the blinders off as much as you can.
I'll see what I can do, sir.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Get to work.
Aye, Captain.
The captain will put out through the ship-wide text system. I'm sure there is one every ship. Everybody there should be a text alert system. Send a message to the command staff, establishing a command level briefing in about 3 hours.
And Captain, if you don't mind, go ahead and read your log.
Well, Captain's log, USS Navajo, stardate 48451.1. Captain David Ferrone reporting. USS Navajo is en route to the Havian home system, where long-range probes have detected the Havians' first successful warp engine test, making them eligible for first contact. Despite over 200 years of observation and monitoring of the Havian space program, we know very little of the Havians themselves. And since they have not ventured beyond their own solar system, the Havians know little to nothing of the vast community of worlds that lie out here waiting for them. Or so we suppose. That is about to change. The Navajo has been tasked with learning what we can about the Havians and making first contact. While newly warp-capable worlds are usually introduced to the galaxy at large slowly, Starfleet has instructed us to initiate diplomatic ties with the Havians through the resource-rich nature of their system and the current diplomatic tensions that are taking place in our quadrant. In log. Command staff is getting smaller. Thank you, everybody. Ensign Vogel, what's our ETA outside the Havian system?
We're still looking at travel time of about a day, sir.
Some time. I've received our orders from Starfleet. We are to proceed with most haste towards the Havian system, where we have discovered they have made their first warp-capable flight. We have been selected to make first contact, which is normally a pretty exciting thing for a Starfleet for a starship. It's good to get back to Starfleet's primary mission, to explore strange worlds and meet new civilizations. Catch here is that we don't know very much about them. Starfleet science has been monitoring them for a couple hundred years, and we know very little. Further complicated by the situation, the tensions in the quadrant, the worry about the Dominion. Their system, or at least the long-range probes, say that the system is fairly rich in resources that could be quite valuable. Which means Admiral Gibson has asked us to establish diplomatic relations and possibly lay the groundwork for trade agreements with the Havians. It's a lot to ask for a first contact mission, but they have faith in us, and I have faith in the crew. But for the time being, Lieutenant Bray has graciously put together a briefing for us on what we do know about the Havians. Lieutenant Ray, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Captain. The Havian system itself is a 7-planet galaxy that consists with a G-type star, several moons, long-range probes detect possible dilithium, which might be one of the reasons that it's so popular. The third planet is home to the Havians, and it is the Classen world.
Is that all we know?
Unfortunately, due to the sensor abilities of the Havians, it is difficult to go probing around in their system without finding, things.
I see the logic in Star. Go ahead.
Listen, got away from me there.
I see the logic in Starfleet's interest if the planet is rich in dilithium.
Well, and the logic in viewing from afar makes sense as well. We certainly didn't want to violate the prime directive accidentally. But it does leave us a little handicapped for this mission.
What is the Dominion threat to this particular region, Captain?
Unknown at this time.
But it is seen as a target by the Dominion in some cases. Is that not correct?
It may be a target if open war with the Dominion is unfortunate enough to begin.
Any
But
source of dilithium would be highly cherished during times of battle. I mean, they have had limited space travel for about 200 years, but they've just been slowly progressing, so maybe they haven't tapped into it yet.
How long ago was their first successful warp test?
About 2 months ago.
let's keep in mind that the Dominion would not be the only interested parties.
200 years of spaceflight and a warp test only 2 months ago. Very interesting. They did not have anyone to assist them.
When the Prime Directive works as intended, no species has anyone to assist them.
Still, it is interesting that it took them so long to achieve warp flight, despite having not interstellar travel. Travel within it would travel within their solar system for so long.
Maybe they had other priorities. Maybe it's cultural that they don't wander off. I mean, there are several different cultures that took quite a while to get from A to B, as you see, because of cultural, financial, demographic, locational.
All
Do we
true.
have any information on their society?
Unfortunately, no.
Yeah, they could be. There are all sorts of possibilities. They could have built telescopes to see out among the stars and discover for all we know, they may have actually discovered that they're not alone in the universe.
That was my follow-up question, Captain. Do they have any knowledge of extraterrestrial life form?
We have no way of knowing. They may be very insular. They may be very slow and cautious. Maybe it's taken them this long to get to warp flight because they were cautious about progression. They also have been slow to progress based on interplanetary conflict. My own home world probably would have reached warp speed a lot faster than it did if it hadn't tried to blow itself. If we hadn't tried to blow ourselves up. At this point, all we have is speculation. What we need is perhaps a plan to get close enough to gather some information without being seen. I'd like to collect as much information as we can before we announce ourselves to these people.
We could do long-range scans of the planet outside of their solar system. The scans might not be as accurate as if we are closer, but it is something.
Also, it might be possible to take one of our runabouts to initiate maybe a closer range scan of the planet. A runabout would offer lower emissions, potentially being able to keep us hidden.
Maybe we should try to contact them first. I mean, this is the first contact. I wouldn't, want to be appearing rude without asking people what their house looks like.
I believe our mission states that we are to observe first before we engage in first contact.
We should gather.
But if they know we're coming,
I believe they do not know that we are coming, Lieutenant.
well, once we get there, because of their scanner abilities, they will know that we're coming.
I believe what the captain was trying to insinuate is that we would try to do some sort of reconnaissance of them before any of their scanning devices could detect us or a potential runabout.
Precisely. If nothing else, to start building a language database.
If we were to simply announce ourselves to them, to a society that has never made contact or potentially never made contact with extraterrestrial life form, the consequences could be interesting and not desired.
Lieutenant, right, did you see anything in the scans of the system that might indicate Oort clouds, asteroid fields, alignments of the planets that might give us an advantage.
The only asteroid field in the system is between the third and fourth planet.
Sounds eerily familiar.
Very similar to your solar system, Earth.
Yes. All right, well, we've got most of the day to get ready. As we get closer, Lieutenant Rye, see what we can get with our own sensors the closer we get. Ensign Vogel, I want to park us outside their sensor radius to begin. I'd like everyone to start brainstorming ideas for how we can learn information about them politely beforehand. Priority would be language and culture. I would hate to have communication to be difficult. Not to mention, I would like to try to avoid cultural faux pas during the first time we meet these folks.
Could it be possible if we could maybe piggyback off a signal off of one of their satellites in order to try to intercept some of their communications?
It's a possibility.
That would provide us with a base for their language,
Indeed.
or one of their languages, assuming that their culture has multiple languages.
It's a good point. We don't even know if we're dealing with a single planetary government. This gets complicated. Normally, if it isn't, normally don't make first contact with a world unless they've already established a single world government. I will say that if there isn't a way to gain information without being discovered, we may have to go with Lieutenant Ray's suggestion. Getting caught spying on a people is probably not a good way to build relationships. Any other thoughts or ideas?
The doctor speaks up. She goes, "I've got a thought, but it's not something that I want to share in front of the rest of the officers. It's a medical opinion that I'd like to share with you one-on-one, Captain, when you have the time."
Well, all right, folks, we'll get your sections ready. Keep thinking of ideas and brainstorming ideas. I understand this far out, it's kind of hard to come up with plans, but even the beginnings of a plan or ideas may speed up this process once we get in range. Let's be back here once we're at the system and had a chance to get some initial scans. We'll be back here to discuss. Sound good?
Understood, sir.
Well, let's get to work. Doctor, if you'll stay behind for a moment.
Thank you, Captain. Well, I'll just huddle here. Thank you. I don't want to rehash the argument that I had with you before about putting Solok as the executive officer while also having him retain the chief engineer duties. But I have to tell you that I am concerned about crew fatigue right now.
How so?
Well, I've already talked to you about Vogel and her tendencies to work constantly and not take any recreation time or rest time, even though I have strongly recommended it. I haven't given a medical order yet, but I'm very seriously considering doing so. And with Solok, I've also noted that he has not slept in 3 days, nor has he eaten any food in 2. Now, I know that Vulcans have a different physiology than humans, but that's not good.
Other than these 2 specific crewmen, is it a crew-wide issue or just these 2 officers?
Well, I'm seeing it with the 2 of them. I can't say much for Ray right now, but for everyone, they're pulling additional duty. Now that we have Commander Keeble, who's not around, we have additional people providing security duty, and we haven't had a significant rest since DS9. And I don't necessarily know if I would call that a rest. I think we're in need of some serious shore leave, or we need to start encouraging our officers to take some leisure time, away from work. Solok and Vogel especially. They have to set an example.
I don't disagree with you about that. And as our orders permit, I will accept your recommendation and be more insistent with those 2 about taking time off.
Thank you. I'm asking for a gentle nudge at this point. I'm not asking for anything harsh. I just don't want to have to medically order them to take a rest.
Would prefer that as well. Though sometimes with Vulcans you have to.
Yes, but Solok does respond well when he's given orders, especially from a superior officer. And then there's the question of you. Are you taking sufficient time away?
I just had a fishing trip on DS9.
You found it relaxing and enjoyable?
The first half.
I looked at the report. The first half seemed nice. The second half seemed a bit more tense. The whole point of relaxation is that you actually relax.
And I do as appropriate. Just ask Solok. He caught me with my feet on the desk just the other day.
He caught you with your what? Your feet on the desk? What is that? What does that have to do with anything?
I was relaxing. You don't relax with your feet on your desk?
I usually relax when I'm relaxing. I put my feet on the desk whenever I feel, yeah, of course I do. But I didn't quite see the connection there. You're deflecting a little bit. I'm going to be interested to seeing your fitness report, which is going to be due to me in about 2 weeks. That's when your physical is set. That's when I'm going to find out whether or not you're really relaxed or not. And if you're not relaxed, then we're going to have a discussion about how you need to relax and take a real fishing trip, not a fishing trip in a holosuite.
We are a long way from the places that I go real fishing in.
There are plenty of planets in this galaxy where you can fish and have a good time. It doesn't necessarily have to be Earth. I'm just saying that we should think about real shore leave on a real planet. Studies have shown that relaxation increases 5 to sometimes 7% more than in holosuites. A relaxed crew is a more efficient crew. I would think even Solok would agree with that.
Oh, he would. It's logical.
Very logical. So you're in agreement with me? We need to maybe coax people to take some time off, and then maybe you on your own can talk to the Admiral about getting us some shore leave on a real, actual planet, one that's not in a war-torn or potentially hostile region or a first contact situation? Maybe?
I can attempt that, Doctor, but understand we may be on the verge of going to war with the Dominion.
All the more reason why we need to take shore leave now. Once something happens with the Dominion, all bets are off.
This is true. But I appreciate your information, Doctor. I'm encouraged that you keep bringing it to me.
Well, I'll keep bringing it to you whether you encourage it or not. It's my job. And I want to make certain that everyone is healthy and well. That's also my job.
I'm as fit as a horse.
We'll see you in 2 weeks. Is there anything else, Captain?
Not at this time, Doctor.
Thank you for your time.
Be ready to learn about a new species here in about a day, though.
I look forward to it.
Captain heads back to his ready room, mumbling under his breath about R&R. We're going to go on first contact. This is what we're out here for. This is what energizes. That's what energizes the crew. Getting to do what we're meant to be doing. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she had McCoy for an instructor.
Okay, to the bridge, I guess, right? So what is everybody doing before you arrive?
I think Vogel might actually test a hypothesis about potentially extending the range of the ship's sensors with sensor probes to allow us to scan the planet from further away.
Are you planning on dropping the probes at warp or when you come out of warp?
Oh, like when we get there, like if the theory is sound, be able to drop out of warp further away and then launch the probes.
Well, the probes when they're launched, they travel like because they use thrusters essentially, so they don't even really travel at impulse, so they will take a long time to get through a system. Now, if you drop the probe at warp, they will maintain that warp velocity for a little bit until they reach their until they get closer to their destination, depending on how you set the field or whatever.
We could try that then.
Okay. Just give me a reason plus con, assisted by the ship's computers con. Difficulty of 2.
Take one of those lovely threat things. This very much sounds like an astrophysics problem. Can I use that?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Get it out of the way right now.
I know, right?
Just need the ship.
What was the ship again?
Computers con, because you're running a simulation. Gain momentum because you did succeed, but there is a complication.
That's fine. I like complications. Oh, I got to roll for untap. What is my control? I think you get a threat, actually.
All right. You run the simulation on the computer. You estimate that you could get the probe to travel. We'll travel at warp, and then we'll stop just inside the asteroid field, based on your calculations. Before it loses, momentum from the warp field bubble dispersing.
Yeah, yeah. And then they could use thrusters to get in position or whatever.
Potentially, yeah.
So if Rye is still at the ops pad, I'm like, Lieutenant, I think I have a way of increasing our sensor range. If you want to double check my numbers, I think we might be able to get probes to get our scanning range closer.
All right. Let me see what I can see. Do I need to roll for this?
Nope. Her math looks good.
Looks like it should work. Good job, Sarah.
Thanks. So what do you think we'll find at the planet?
Fortunately, I have no idea. And I'm very excited about that.
Me too. It's another check off of all the places I want to go.
And the fact that it could be literally anything, oh, it's amazing. You really think we're going to go to war with the Dominion soon?
I hope not. If these conflicts with the Maquis has taught us anything, war is brutal.
I don't like war. Hopefully nobody does, but I really don't like war.
Hopefully, cooler heads will prevail and be able to maintain this peace.
Yeah.
It's kind of unfortunate that we're coming here with somewhat of an ulterior motive.
Yeah, the scientist in me is really excited, but the pragmatist, I just don't want this to turn into what we do now, you know?
I'm just excited to potentially get a look at that warp capable craft they made.
Yeah. And it's a Type G star. That's going to be a different lighting source altogether, so it's definitely going to make more for an interesting fauna, flora. I can't wait to see it.
You gonna try to collect any specimens while we're here?
I promised my little sister I'd bring her all the cool rocks I could, so maybe something to add to the list.
Sorry, this player, did you say sister?
Yeah,
I didn't know you had any other family. How old is she? Did my mic come through?
Oh no, I'm sorry.
I didn't know you had any other siblings. How old is she?
Oh, she just turned 11 not that long ago. Yeah, I've
Oh,
got a brother and a sister.
still very young.
Yeah, we're all kind of spaced apart. My dad being a captain kind of makes their their time together brief.
I have two brothers myself. One's older. He's actually a enlisted security officer.
Hmm?
And then I have a younger brother, but he decided to go a different route. Last I heard, he was bartending on some backwater planet somewhere.
Yeah, Telos isn't sure what she wants to do, but she definitely wants to do something fun. That's all she'll say. Uh, my brother, Asil, he's actually in the academy right now. He's about to graduate as an ensign for command, actually.
You gonna make that trek to see his graduation?
You know, hopefully. Well, I guess we'll see what happens next.
Anything else?
Solot comes down. Captain, I have here the updated duty roster with some interesting changes per the recommendations of the medical department. They have asked that I space out certain duties due to the request for more rest, I believe, is what the doctor said. Solak hands the pad to the captain.
Crone looks it over and says, it's a good recommendation from the CMO. It's important for my unit heads to set the example when it comes to getting the proper amount of rest.
I don't disagree, so long as it doesn't interfere with efficiency.
But not getting enough rest can interfere with efficiency.
For others it can, but not with me, sir.
Well, Vulcans do have that strong constitution, but keep in mind, not everyone understands that.
I think
Most of the engineering team, until you're just in engineering, everyone will look to you and attempt to emulate you. Not everyone can keep up with that kind of workload.
I do not understand the logic of that, Captain. Certainly everyone in engineering is not a Vulcan. In fact, we have no Vulcans in engineering. So why would a human or other species try and emulate a Vulcan? That would be like trying to emulate a creature that you don't fully understand or are capable of based on biology or other factors. I certainly do not try to emulate a human.
I imagine you would find emulating humans a bit uncomfortable for you.
Uncomfortable? I'm not quite certain. Unnecessary would be more likely. I am quite comfortable in my own skin.
In my experience, most Vulcans are.
In any case, the doctor's recommendations are noted. If you have your approval, then I'll set up the new rotations as soon as possible.
They need my approval, Commander. Just make sure you're setting the example.
Yes, sir. And he sort of cocks his eyebrow curiously, not quite fully understanding what that is, but somewhat pretending that he does. And he goes back to his station.
I didn't want to talk about it too much right there on the bridge. But he's also hoping certain ears on the bridge heard the captain and Solak having that conversation.
Vogel's going to assume that does not apply to her.
Rye's working. I don't know what to tell you.
Will make the captain feel guilty for going fishing. Actually, since he has the time, the captain is going to spend the time reviewing reports from his department heads, because that's what you do when you're a starship captain, and kind of looking through them for any evidence supporting the doctor's suspicions about fatigue among the crew. But he also wants to spend part of that time reviewing Starfleet first contact protocols, perhaps creating a temporary game mechanics term, creating a temporary trait, knowledgeable of first contact protocols that might help lower difficulties later on.
I swear, Doctor, I'm not overworked.
Yeah, we are, but we're just not going to acknowledge it.
But of those two tasks, the captain would prioritize the health issue of the crew.
By the way, I'm playing the Doctor as like a total mother hen. If anyone has a different take on the Doctor, it's fine.
I think it's perfect. Please don't change the thing. That was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, by the way, others can play the Doctor. I just thought that it was like an interesting idea because we haven't heard much from the Doctor recently.
Oh no, you have claimed her personality, man.
Yep. And I think it's only fitting that those that make the character get to play the character.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm okay if somebody else plays the character, though. I'm not protective of the character.
Somebody has to be the counterpoint to the captain.
As long as everyone gets a turn at the Tellarites.
True.
Especially when you've had a bad day.
Are you saying something? I enjoy playing a Tellarite too much.
I love playing Tellarites. They're great.
But as Perron goes through the personnel file, the daily logs and stuff from his department heads, is there something to what the Doctor is telling him?
I think that Jim had to step away for a bit.
I will tell you that Tabrai is not looking quite as put together as you'd assume a half Vulcan would.
Oh, that's another whole identity crisis where we need a counselor.
Very true.
We do have a counselor, by the way. And
Yes, we do.
And it's Counselor Hale is his name, and he kind of looks like Jude Law.
I like that for some reason.
I mean, he does, right? That's looking like, okay, it's like an AI Jude Law.
So it has a face that you really do want to tell everything to.
Pretty much, yeah. Oh, he does look like Jude Law.
Right?
All right, now I have to see it.
I mean, it's not like an exact. It looks like a young Jude Law.
Oh, young Jude Law with like a little bit of what's his name?
Talented Mr. Ripley, Jude Law.
See, now we're all looking.
Yeah.
Hale?
Hale.
The hair reminds me of somebody, and I cannot pinpoint the name for the life of me.
And there he is on the bridge, apparently.
Oh, that's just so I could see the picture up close.
He heard you talking about how you need to do your counseling sessions.
We apparently have an entire fully staffed medical support team.
We're totally stacked in medical.
Oh, yes.
We're good with engineering. Yeah, we're good. We're pretty good all around.
I guess command, but does command need additional?
I'm sure there's some yeomen we can make and like
Yeah,
diplomatic attaches and such.
yeah, that's a good idea.
You know, some that are like pretty much like for negotiations, trade agreements.
Yeoman, I hadn't thought of.
negotiation
Yeoman's a
type
good
stuff.
one.
And then, of course,
I-
if the captain has a personal chef.
Oh well, yeah.
Shouldn't
Every
have
captain has to have a personal chef.
I mean, this ship is big enough so it has an actual captain's mess, right?
Sure.
I
Why
mean,
not?
if not, just convert one of the empty rooms to it.
Or is that
Well, I could-
that actually may be a ship talent, though.
Oh, really?
It might
Oh,
be.
we could make another science person as well.
Now I have to look.
There's Captain's Yacht. I see Deluxe Galley.
Deluxe galley, yeah. How about that similar?
What does it give you? What does the deluxe galley give you? Ice cream?
Once per adventure, you may create a fine dining trait for free when the ship is visited by a VIP, diplomat, or other important guest.
Dang.
I'm back. Sorry about that. What
We were
will-
talking. We were
That would be the captain's mess right there. Is the deluxe galley.
deluxe galley. Yeah.
Look, the deluxe galley gives you advantage for negotiations and stuff on the ship, I believe, if I remember correctly. It is an interesting starship talent, I will say that.
We were just talking about Yeoman and the consular kind of looking like Jude Law.
Yeah, we reached the end
comment
of our
on
roll.
that. No comment on that. Anyway, so is there anything you guys wish to do before you arrive? Try to get this.
Yeah, I didn't realize. Yeah, I didn't realize you had stepped away. The captain wants to. Two things the captain wants to do is review the personnel reports from the current shift logs and personnel reports from the department heads, just to see if there's any evidence in there to support what the doctor's telling him. And then he wants to bone up on first contact protocol, game mechanic wise, maybe attempting to establish a trait or whatever we call it in second edition that would help him down the road as he starts meeting with these new people.
So there is, you do have two counselors on board, by the way. I also heard everything you're talking about because I have a wireless headset. So FYI.
Oh, dang! Should have make
Oh,
note of
we
that.
weren't talking shit, huh?
There's two counselors on board. I know you have the one. There's an NPC counselor I made a while back. That's on there. That's
Yep, the one who made the pie that was
Yeah.
horrible.
Ouch.
Well, it was the roll that was made. I didn't,
I know.
Solok liked the pie.
Just the GM rolling bad, that's all. But no, she has like things like insightful guidance and positive reinforcements, where she could technically help you on this if you want, which is a little bit more fleshed out. Or you could start using that supporting character and upgrade him a little bit more during this. Which I don't even think he's been activated yet. So. But in terms for the personnel reports, like guys kind of made that up. So you can kind of say whatever.
Well, I would just say, you don't have to be a roll or anything. It's the captain reacting to a report from the CMO. Not good for him to ignore his chief medical officer.
So for this trait creation, exactly how do you want this trait to apply to you?
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that far. Maybe it goes over kind of some of the records and protocols for that first meeting part of first contact. Looking at the ways that other captains have done it right in the past, and how other captains have done it wrong in the past, and so maybe just something to make it less likely for him to make a mistake.
Many captains choose to confide with a counselor since they've been on board. Picard is notable to working with Deanna Troi on many of his first contact dealings. As per older first contact protocol, many of them were just at the whim of the captain. Some that went horrible, some that went great, some just played it by ear. So it's a little bit overpriced.
The Kirk method. Probably will make a note to himself to invite whichever the counselors is more senior to the next staff meeting.
Well, senior wise, I mean, I guess because Baxter is a lieutenant. I think Hale's a lieutenant too. So whichever one you want. One's a full-fledged NPC that I can control, so it's at the whim of myself on that character.
Well, it does have the advantage of becoming a vehicle for the GM to provide exposition, without having to type long strings of exposition to a player. If it's a full-fledged NPC, it saves us some crew support, right?
It does.
Yes, but Jude Lawface is Jude Lawface.
The character does not look like Jude Law. It might have some facial structure resemblance, but it doesn't look like him.
We said it's a younger Jude Law.
Young
Let us
Jude
have
Law.
our
Talented
Yeah,
Mr.
but he's
Ripley
got the
Law.
Christian hair. He's got the Christian Bale flop on his hair.
Yep.
That's who I was trying to think of.
Look, AI does what AI wants to do. What generating faces.
That's how Forrest Gump would talk about AI. AI does as AI is.
Don't
Unlike
talk ill of
AI,
our future AI overlords.
Well, that's coming. All right. So do you wish to meet with one of the counselors, Captain?
I'm gonna have one of them invited to the next staff meeting.
When is the next staff meeting?
Once we arrive out of orbit and collect a little information, because until we have some information, there's not a whole lot to talk about. So once we come out of warp and get some initial investigation, then we can get together and talk about what to do. The captain will. All right. Do you guys want to activate Jude Law or give the GM a break on exposition dumping?
I'm into a cool either way. Doesn't matter to me.
Flip a coin?
Flip a coin. Yeah.
Roll the bones, man. Let's see what we get.
All right. Odd, we give the GM a break. Even we do Jude Law. Jude Law it is.
It's going to cost you a crew support.
I'm sure that won't hurt us later. So he will send. Kevin will send. We'll let Hale in kind of on the mission briefing, and make sure he knows to expect and invite to the next staff meeting. But until, at least for me, until we actually get there and can start collecting information, I don't have anything.
Right, to the conference room.
Well, we need to collect information before we have a briefing.
What information are you collecting?
Well, that's what I said. Once we get near the system, we can start scanning and trying to collect information. Because right now we don't have anything to talk about.
Yeah, and I wasn't Vogel going to do the satellite thing?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do have to tell the captain about it first. Unless the captain overheard the conversation.
Captain.
Well, hon, we are only 2 feet in front of him, so.
Captain's Italian. He's got ears everywhere.
Well, that's only terrifying because I know so many Italians. You have to admit, if there were more Italian grandmas in Starfleet, the Dominion would have been beat a lot faster. I'm just going to say.
Section 31, full of Italians.
Oh, no.
That's why they're so efficient.
Exactly.
All right. You are at warp. Vogel, you adjust the ship to slow down the warp speed before you initiate launching the probe.
Also, GM, just side note, while I'm on the bridge, I have Maxine Sanders in science. She's our xenobiologist doing preemptive all prep for first contact and species update and all that. I have her kind of pseudo running the department while I'm on the bridge.
Okay. Just so you know, we are since there's enough players, so there is a rule for supporting character wise. Now, supporting characters can speak. If they're within the scene, you still have to use a crew. Well, you don't have to use a crew support for that, but When you start using active, a player takes control of the supporting character, and they can roll. They can only during that scene they can either roll. They have to choose which character to roll for, and they can only roll for that character for the remainder of that scene.
Okay.
So
Is activating them for assist still a thing?
yes, they can assist, but so long as they're not the primary roller. But yeah, you still can activate them
But
for
it's
just
just for the
assist.
scene.
Just for well, so all right, let me explain this better. Um, when you choose to activate a supporting character, they can be activated for either as the main roller or as a essentially the players taking over the supporting character and playing that supporting character for the remainder of the scene or further. Now, the crew activation lasts until the end of the adventure, so that supporting character can be called at any point in time without increasing the supporting character slots on the ship. Um, if you wish for them to, however, the player character during that scene has to maintain playing that supporting character. They cannot keep swapping in between. Now, some games do this a little loosely and they don't apply this rule. I'm going to apply this ruling to you guys since there is enough of you, given what is going on for this game currently. Um, if you wish to have the supporting character assist, you can do that, and that does not account against you playing your main character as the main roller. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
So, like, here's the thing: like, if you're like playing if you have your main character in the scene and you're playing the supporting character, your main character can still be in the scene, but they can only be reduced to assist roles only or talking roles. That would be it.
Got it.
I know the Artemis game plays it loosely because at times there's only 3 players, so but
Yeah.
there is enough for you guys, and really the adventure. You guys have everything you need for this adventure, like just as your main characters. So that's why
All right.
kind of enforcing this rule.
Makes sense. All right, crew, gather some information.
So you've Vogel, you've slowed down at warp. What do you wish to do? You know, I guess fire the.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the probe launching maneuver thing.
We'll just make this a con check. I'm not gonna make it a roll to launch the probe. You're just getting the ship at the right angle. You do have the advantage, so it's going to lower the difficulty by 1. Um, the complication range that you rolled earlier is going to increase the complication range by 1. So with this will be a control con difficulty of 1, complication 1, assisted by the ship's sensors con.
You mean Comp 2?
Sorry, yeah, comp 2.
So it's Diff 1, Comp 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll use the momentum to get the third dice and a reroll. Helm ops for focus.
Sure.
Ooh.
And
See, you got that thing out of the way.
sensor cons.
Oh, I'm not exactly sure how traits work, but does best pilot in the quadrant do anything for piloting tasks?
No, not on this.
I'm not sure how traits apply in game.
They trace can apply multiple different ways. Which I don't really think it matters a whole lot because you gain 5 momentum. I'll just keep that in mind. Like,
You can get a threat though.
I do like threat.
He does.
You launch the probe warp as the ship you bring it to a stop at the edge of the system. The probe launches, goes through the system at warp and stops about where uh, you stops for a trajectory, and just above or just past the asteroid field between the third and fourth planet.
All right, Rye. I think I got the sensor probes in position for you, so you can hopefully get some pretty detailed scans in.
Nice shooting. I'll see what I can do.
Give me so the sensor probe gets closer in range. Give me a reason plus science. Difficulty of 1 assisted by the ship's sensors plus science.
Okay, I'm going to use one of those momentum.
Sensor science, you say?
Yes. Gain 2. So you're capped. I'll type it out to you. So give me a minute.
So is anybody threatened by Milton or anything?
We were talking about that before you got on uh, about whether or not it was going to be a Cat 5 when it hit.
Oh dear.
It looks like it won't be.
Oh good. My brother's in Pensacola, so I was a little worried about him.
I think it's going to totally miss Pensacola, though. It's supposed to hit Tampa directly.
Yeah, this would be the second hurricane in a row he would have missed because the one that Helene went straight pretty much north from him, and this one's gonna get below
Dodging
him.
it.
Just lucky dog.
Where I'm at in Texas has been pretty lucky.
Same. We got a little cloudy. That was about it.
Oh, you're in Texas?
Yeah, central.
Oh, okay. I'm in Corpus, and I think the captain is in Nacogdoches, whatever,
Okay.
however you say that.
Before we, yeah. Anyway, I sent some information to Ray.
We're filling the dead air.
I understand. Right? Did you get the Discord message?
Yeah, did y'all not hear me?
No, we didn't.
Oh, I said the whole. Okay, hold on one second. I spoke and had my keyboard is being finicky. I apologize.
Sounds like you need to throw it across the room.
Thinking about it. Okay. So, the probe is having a hard time detecting surface life due to a planetary shield that is in place. There are several space outposts in orbit, along with a large artificial ring structure. But there is pictures.
Ooh, I like pictures.
Ah, let's see what the Havians look like.
Oh, that is so cool.
It's the Halo planet.
Any questions?
Solak says, a rather fascinating piece of engineering. That is an artificial halo around the circumference of the planet.
Habitable?
It would be logical to assume so.
Begs the question, why are they just now getting warp technology? Clearly they are master builders.
Yes, with multiple stations as well, it seems. Knowledge of outer space, but yet seemingly no interest until recently of traveling outside of their own solar system.
To be fair, the ring structure is fairly thin.
Oh, it just looks really thick and cool from this picture. Sorry.
Well, it's got some width to it, but it's not like thick.
Is it a
thin.
habitable? Is it a habitable structure of some kind?
No.
Very
It would
interesting.
appear to be decorative.
Decorative.
I'm sure it has a purpose.
God.
Possibly. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Was the probe able to detect anything about the Havians themselves?
I'm not seeing a lot of detail through the probe. I am, however, detecting large amounts of energy flowing throughout the ring. It appears to be collecting solar energy. You can see there are several solar arrays around it.
Very impressive.
Relatively clean energy source.
It would negate the need or reduce the need on their planet for using other forms of energy. Though, was this planet one of the planets that had the dilithium concentration?
I'm not able to tell with that shield up.
Their satellite network. Are we detecting any communication protocols between the satellites themselves and the planet?
Yes.
So look, think you two could tap into that network without getting caught?
We will attempt to do so, sir.
Benson Vogel, any sign that the Havians have detected our probe?
I'm not seeing anything at this point, but I'll keep an eye on it, sir.
Give me a control plus engineering difficulty 2, assisted by the ship's communications plus engineering.
All right, and Rye can assist me as well. So I think the captain assigned us both to it.
Yeah, right can assist.
Okay.
Engineering, you say?
So to difficulty 2. I guess I'll take a momentum. Or I'll take a die with momentum.
Control engineering.
Engineering. Reverse engineering, would you take that as a focus?
This is more subspace communications.
So computers.
No.
Okay.
Gain 3, so I believe that puts you at 2 float. You tap into their communication array network and pick up a alien language that the computer is currently trying to translate.
Can we use the 2 float to create a trait so that the satellite that we have is harder for the Havians to detect?
Sure.
Okay, then we'll do that.
So, like, any estimate on how long it'll take the UT to decipher their language?
One moment, Captain. We're just now getting the first instances of what their language is. We have made it more difficult for them to be able to trace or track our probe, Ensign Vogel, and we are now beginning to understand what their language is.
What puzzles me is the planetary shield. Unless they know that there's life beyond their solar system, I'm not sure what its purpose is, unless the system is prone to asteroid strikes.
Or perhaps this ring structure was not built by them in the first place.
Maybe
That
we're
isn't-
not the first contact.
All are entirely possible. And GM, do we need to rolls for something for this
No.
language? Okay.
Eventually, the computer is able to translate.
So I tell that to the captain. The ship's universal translator is not able to translate their language, Captain.
Excellent, good work. Do they have are we detecting anything in the way of entertainment or news networks?
Would you like us to roll for that?
There are several. The translator informs you there is only one language that it detected.
Interesting. A single language for this entire world. One language for their culture.
That gives us some hope for a single planetary government. Well, let's see if what they've got on their news networks. See what we can learn by observing them for a while.
One moment, Captain. We'll tap in.
As you tap into the audio, well, the feed, you see a remarkable, beautiful, striking woman speak. She looks strikingly human. Uh, Stating that the planetary weather is, it's very calm and almost Vulcan-like in a way. Discussing the weather and the daily news and essentially traffic and protocols.
Comes on after the weather report.
Sports.
That is traditional. That's all for weather.
Unless
Now
it's an
sports.
election year.
Today in Snotling Ball.
But no, the
Yeah.
rest of it's pretty, atypical of stuff you see from, I wouldn't say like a pre-warp society, but a society that is probably almost 100 years or more past it.
That's peculiar. Thoughts?
Almost Vulcan-like in their delivery of the news.
Oh, interesting. But I think the Vulcans would have liked Walter Cronkite.
I'm much more interested in their technology and their ability to create such a fascinating and elaborate and impressive structure around their planet.
All right, let's set up 20. Let's do at least 4 hours observation, observing their communication networks, activity in the planet. See what else we can learn from the probe. Starfleet wants us to hurry this up a little more than normal, but let's take a little time to get some information first.
Uh-oh.
Breaking news, as you hear on both television. The Science Commission has dispatched a vessel to investigate an unknown alien probe that has entered our system. Perhaps this is what the scientists have theorized for centuries now of advanced alien life forms within our own galaxy. More to come later this evening.
Yeah, Captain, what she said.
The captain just kind of looks down at his feet. Well, jigs
Very,
up.
very interesting that they were able to detect the probe so quickly.
Well, we were taking some chances trying to sneak one in there past their communication networks anyway.
A planetary shield and communication and sensor networks so intricate that they are able to detect our probe within minutes of us deploying it.
Well, it sounds like from their news network, they've been hypothesizing life beyond their system for at least some time.
But it has not been confirmed until now, of course.
But that could explain the shield that we're seeing here. Maybe they observed something in the past.
And build some sort of protection around their world for that. That would be logical.
Maybe we should ask them.
Well, we may be about to. Lieutenant Ray, can you give me an estimate about how long it'll take them to reach our probe?
Matter of hours.
All right, we'll just spend the next couple hours. Work with our counselor and anyone else you feel appropriate to scan all their entertainment and news networks. Let's soak up as much of their culture as we can, and then when they get within an hour of the probe, we're going to announce ourselves.
Hi, sir. Permission to head down to the lab?
Permission granted.
Sir, should we allow the probe to remain there for them to get at, or should we recall the probe?
Let's leave it in place for now, but we're going to bring it back before they get to it. Looking at the speed, can our probe travel faster than their spacecraft?
Apparently, they have some pretty fast engines on that, Captain.
Well, in that case, let's just be ready to self-destruct the probe, just in case.
Aye, sir.
We are here to make nice. Go ahead and keep monitoring their progress, and let's get as much information as we can. And then the Perone is going to observe their feed, the communications feed from his chair. Let's see, Mr. Solak, if you'll see what you can glean from their communication feeds about their technology. Perhaps Ensign Vogel, you'll see what else you can learn about their transportation means. I'll look and see if I can learn while I'll set my narrow my search to anything I can learn about their government. Oh. So, you've been assigned to monitor their communication feeds for anything you can learn about their current level of technology.
Understood, Captain.
While Rye is off the bridge working with the counselor to see what she can learn culturally, Captain is going to concentrate on seeing what he can learn about their government, while Vogel is going to concentrate on transportation systems and whatnot. And we're going to do, like we used to say before final exams at Starfleet Academy, we're going to do some real quick cramming.
So just to kind of speed things along here, technologically wise, they at least appear to have spacecraft that can travel at almost similar speeds to Impulse. They appear to use a vast shuttle network around the planet that's within the planetary shield. The probe also detects several what appears to be automated mining vessels that are scattered throughout the system, along with several satellites.
Got it.
But it seems that most of the craft outside of their planet is some sort of form of automation.
I'm sorry, some form of what?
Automation.
Anything we learned about their government?
Uh, they appear to be ran by what appears to be some sort of. They mentioned what's called a like high council as the equivalent translation.
Okay. Can
The planet seems to be divided up into multiple districts.
High Council, but more like Congress, or High Council more like Parliament, or High Council like 5 people?
It's unknown. It's just they reference that
Okay, cool.
on the news media.
What is like the planetary, like the weather? Is it like a more temperate world? Is it more of a, mountainy? Yeah.
Visually, it looks temperate. You have no way of knowing that because of the shield.
Okay.
okay. In all of that, especially the captain's examination of their government, can we identify and spend a momentum to obtain information to identify the best, the someone in their leadership that we can contact, or their a communication channel to their high council?
Uh, there are particular like encoded communication signals. Um, it's unclear how to get in touch with their high council.
Okay. Then how about the command and control for whatever vessel they've had sent there? They've sent out towards our probe.
They do use. I mean, it appears to be a vessel, small one. You know, not nothing like the size of like scale 3, but pretty close to it.
Oh, here's a question I think to ask. Their communication network, is it subspace
It's
or something else?
subspace.
Wow, the captain would note that they've developed subspace radio already. Yeah, I want to call the counselor to the bridge so that I have him at hand. Counselor, you've had an opportunity to observe what we've been seeing.
Someone can speak for him, but just FYI, he's restricted because everyone's rolled in this scene, so he is restricted to assist rolls only.
That's fair.
Bogo, you can speak for me if you want.
We would have got Lieutenant Rye back to the bridge too. So we're going to wait till they're about an hour away from the probe, and then we're going to establish communication.
What was the query?
If you wanted to do
The captain's question.
Oh, I just wanted to make sure the count. He just said, "Counselor, I trust you. You've been observing what we've been seeing."
Yes, sir. I've been monitoring the situation.
Good. Lieutenant Rye, if you can, we get you on the bridge. All right. The ship headed towards our probe. Let's try to contact whoever they are in communication with on the ground.
Captain, would it make more logical sense to make contact with the ship itself? Since they are, we assume, looking for extraterrestrial life?
Yes, but they're doing it on orders from someone else. Probably be faster if we just speak to whoever's in charge. If I could find a way to communicate directly with their High Council, I would. Are you able to establish that communication link, Mr. Solot?
You guys could just spend like a momentum for that.
Sure.
Okay.
Channels open.
And on screen appears an older, middle-aged figure adorned with several medals and to the alien spacecraft. This is Minister Ultrek of the Havian government. We wish to speak to you in peace.
Mr. Hayback, I am Captain David Perone, Federation Starship Navajo. Bring you greetings on behalf of the United Federation of Planets. And Perone has kind of stepped out of the center chair and stepped down into the well, much like Picard does when meeting people for the first time. Plus, it just seems more respectful to get up out of his chair.
A pleasure to meet you. Seems you have traveled far.
Yes, and it's a pleasure to meet you as well, Minister. We ask forgiveness for not establishing communication right away, but it took us a little bit to translate your language and make sure that we could make contact. But it is an absolute pleasure to meet you.
So you do not. I was curious as to why you were able to speak our tongue. We thought it would take many months to decipher a language.
We have a technology and a computer system that allows us to absorb and share languages. We represent a federation of over 200 worlds at this point. The player asks out of character. How many worlds are in the Federation at this point?
207. Say that.
Yes, that is now the official canon answer for our game. We represent a federation of 207 worlds, linked together by common ideals of peace and exploration. And haven't recently detected your successful warp flight in the last couple of months. We have decided now is the right time to make contact with
I see. Well, then you must join us. We wish to learn more about your people, and I'm sure you wish to learn about us.
you. Absolutely. Yeah. We didn't. The probe that your government detected was just our means of establishing this communication. We would ask permission to enter your space, make orbit around your world.
Permission granted. Though travel through down to our planet's surface is impossible. You will have to transport over towards the ring structure. There's several a space elevator will then take you down to the planet's surface. We'll guide you into the appropriate area. We will
Excellent.
meet you at these coordinates.
We shall be there and Perone will give the narratively appropriate amount of time. And probably full impulse is probably appropriate.
We will await your arrival.
Thank you. We'll see you soon. Navajo out. And so go ahead and recall the probe.
Aye, sir. Recalling now.
Well, let's just keep our eyes open in case this is a just in case. What was that minister's name?
Altrek? Is that what it is?
I misspoke. It's actually Altrek, but
Altrek.
Keep the spelling for my dog. Yeah, I got it all but one letter.
Space elevator.
so
Last time I saw a space elevator in Star Trek, it did not go well for the crew.
All right, when we arrive, Perot will look at Solak and say, "I hate to do this to you, Commander, but as a first contact situation, I'm going to exercise captain's privilege to lead this away team."
It seems logical to me, sir. Why would you hate to do that to me?
It's a human expression. And to deny you the opportunity to be in a new species and observe their technology up close.
I have faith that the away team that you will send will be able to provide accurate information. In the meantime, I will remain in command of the ship while you are away.
Yes, and again, just in case, as covertly as possible, see if you can figure out a way to get a transporter beam, transporter signal through that shield of theirs.
That may prove difficult, Captain. It is a planetary shield. We will attempt to do so, but To use an expression that you often use, I can make no promises.
Just do your best, Mr. Solak.
Acknowledged.
Ah. Counselor? Lieutenant Rye? Ensign Vogel? Would you all care to stretch your legs?
Captain, it would be my genuine pleasure.
Shall I get a shuttle ready for us?
Captain thinks for a moment. Let's wet their whistle for future trade negotiations. We'll transport over. It's not like the matter transporter systems are a state secret. All right, we should be there. We should be there shortly. We've received their coordinates. Let's all assemble the transporter room in 10 minutes.
Be right back in a minute so you guys can figure out exactly how you wish to go about this whole part a little bit more in detail if you wish.
That was the wrong button.
Oops.
All right, so Vogel, Rye, the counselor, the captain. I imagine that it's Starfleet protocol. We should activate a security officer. That'll keep the pesky Vulcan from reminding the captain that Starfleet regulations require him to take a security officer when he goes off the ship.
Out of character, is that a requirement?
I don't know. Worf always made Picard take security with him.
Yeah. I mean, Vogel's very capable. Rye is very capable. It's up to you. That's. I just think I always feel that it's the captain's prerogative as to whether or not they want like a security person with them or something like that.
The captain just break the rule whatever he feels like. That's what captains do.
I mean, we're not very capable in the shooty department, if that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, no, no.
Yeah. then maybe Johansson or Johnson. Sorry, Johnson can go. The officer right here.
Yeah, let's not.
But don't we want to take gig? I'm just saying.
It's diplomatic. Let's not take the Tellarite.
Yeah, the Tellarite's good in hand-to-hand combat, and she's good in like shooty.
That's fair.
It's just with the first contact situation, you don't want to culture shock them by bringing something really not humanoid looking.
Yeah. So this would be the second activation for this character, right?
Well,
yes.
We should hold off activation until we actually use the character.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Hopefully, she won't be like necessary in that sense.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Use as in a dice roll, right?
Yes.
Got
yeah,
it.
Pretty much.
Got it.
Well, if she's assisting, it's fine. If she's main role, that's where the activation would kick in.
That's what I was going to ask. Is if it's an assisting, does that require activation?
I think the assist requires activation.
Well, you just told me earlier that they can assist with that activation.
That's right.
I may be misremembering that, but I think that's what it said.
You're right. I think you're right.
I think the activation allows. I don't know. It's these weird. The rule book is still not lined up perfectly, and I have to check like 8 different things to see where the support characters
Just
are.
there's just so many things, man.
5 crew support total. We spent 1 on the counselor.
Well,
Did
we
we
had to take
actually-
Jude Law.
I don't know if we actually used them yet to count as a activation though.
True.
Yeah, I always assumed if you bring them with you on an away team, you have to activate them.
Yeah,
No,
that was my assumption too. But I think.
no, because just having them there is just like a plot device.
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to take an engineer with us since I'm leaving Solak on the ship?
That I don't.
I mean, I got a pretty
think
decent
I'm-
engineer. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have a 3 in it myself. I think we're fine with engineering.
All right, so the 2 of you, the captain, the counselor, and a security officer.
We definitely have the sciences covered because I have a 4 in it, and I'm sure Rye has at least a 4, if not a 5 in it.
Basically, the whole bridge is gonna clear out except for Solak.
Yeah, we're gonna go with the Kirk method here, where the captain and the entire command staff goes off the ship.
I love it. It's great.
It's the Kirk method. Which, seeing as how we didn't get our 24 hours to spy on them, we're pretty much going with that method.
It's a Cisco
Yeah,
method
Kirk was
too.
Yeah. Very improv these days.
Kind of reminded us in a play-by-post Warhammer game where we got a bunch of beastmen ahead of us on the road. We're talking about how we're going to deal with it. We're like, yeah, you just want to Leroy Jenkins this? Yep.
Leroy.
Leroy Jenkins.
I played Warhammer last weekend.
We're just going to run at them and see if we can cover the distance quick enough before we get turned into pincushions.
One of the guys in the Warhammer game I'm playing, he's playing an ogre.
Oh.
He rolled an ogre, which means when you rolled your character creation, you had to roll a 98, and he did. And I actually almost begged him. I said, "Do you really want to play this character?" And he's like, "Yes." And so like it's really hard. Like I have to, because he can't fit into normal doors and normal places, so I have to find settings where like he can actually fit into the room because he's so big.
Ah, fun times.
When you have an ogre in the party, you also need a halfling.
No, it's him and a dwarf. They're the sort of dynamic duo there. And he's got ogres have a trait with them. It's called it's a vice. So they're hungry all the time, and if they fail a roll, they have to eat something. And ogres do eat people. So it's just one of these things in the adventure. Like if he fails his vice roll, stuff happens.
I don't think ogres are fun in Warhammer.
They're a lot of fun. They're just a pain in the butt for a GM. I'm the GM of the game, so I just have to they're incredibly powerful. So like I can't just throw goblins at them. So it's about finding more powerful enemies and situations to sort of stress them, because they end up just sending the ogre in there to fight everything.
Give me a score of snotlings I can take down an ogre. I mean, I had the game that I'm running. When we started, we had a guy who wanted to play it over, and I was like, every time they get into a fight, I'm like, okay, you do understand you're the scariest thing on the board, and so everything is going to attack you until they realize that so and so is a wizard.
Yeah. So if it's not an ogre, it's a wizard. Everybody goes after the wizard.
Well, yeah.
Gank the wizard.
The only thing I'm seeing about supporting characters is that the crew support is counted when they are brought into play, are introduced into play. That's the only thing the rules really say about it.
So there's a lot of room for interpretation for that.
Yes, very much
A
so.
lot of room. A lot of room.
That's why I'm assuming Halo is being brought into play.
Grax is back.
Yes.
So, Grax, where the captain's wanting to bring Johnson, the security person, along as well. And the question that we had is, does that count as an activation?
I'm going to say yes, because if they're down for this particular point, you're using them, you maybe end up using them on the planet's surface or not. But they do get they would get like an upgrade.
Okay, so this is the second time they had their first activation back in June, so this is the second one.
But you sure you want to bring her? Because she's more starship orientated.
I think the thought
Oh,
was
she
we
is?
wanted to bring someone more.
Yeah,
we
she's
wanted
got-
to bring a human-looking one.
We didn't want to bring the Tellarite.
I'm surprised you don't want to bring the doctor.
And Marlowe is Benza, I think.
It's benzite, yeah. Right. So for the notes, I'll just note that this is the second activation. Is that what I need to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've given her. Oh, give her a value. We shouldn't have a value yet.
Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah, that way she gets stress. Otherwise, she doesn't have stress.
Ah.
And a determination.
It's not letting me do it here. Hold on. Out. So.
What do we give her for a value? It's a good generic value for a security officer.
I wrote down a bunch of values.
We could do. We give her the weird guy from Stephen King's The Stand. Her value. My life for yours.
But that's the trash can man? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a very
Dang.
Starfleet source. Just saying.
The trash can man?
Oh, come on. He was
I
a
must
fun
protect my ship and
character.
its crew.
the best protection is early detection.
There you go.
Ooh, yeah.
There you go. I'll put that in.
Don't like my life for you, huh? That'd be more of a Klingon security value right there.
What was that?
That'd be more of a Klingon security value. My life for yours.
My life for yours, yeah. Okay.
It's a good day to die.
My uncle loves saying that.
This will also be a scene change, so you go down one momentum too.
I guess that's better than this is. I picked the wrong day to quit sniffing glue.
That's no words for that one there.
You know the reference, though, right? Do you know the reference?
It is one of the best movies ever made.
It is pretty funny. I have it on my phone. That's how much I enjoy watching that film.
Okay, what's the reference?
The movie Airplane.
Oh, it's been so long since I watched that.
Lloyd Bridges, who, Star Trek trivia-wise, was offered the role of Captain Kirk and turned it down.
We get there and the Havians tell us they're ready. We will transport to their spot.
So the Havian vessel escorts you to the ring, and they give you a set of coordinates to essentially it's a docking bay for a shuttlecraft. So I'm assuming you're just beaming in where you're supposed to, take a shuttle to.
Yeah, we'll make sure it has like atmosphere first.
Oh, it has atmosphere. The part of the ring structure is pressurized, and you do detect life forms on it. It's not like a habitat type structure. It is there are other things that the ring does. So
I just want to make sure
Captain?
the shuttle bay. You said it was a shuttle. I want to make sure that was pressurized. They're expecting us to bring a shuttle, and we're going to go surprise.
Suck that into space.
Captain, are you sure I can't convince you to take a shuttle over?
Sense it. This will be fine.
If you say so, sir, I still think a shuttle is our best course of action.
Plus, if this goes wrong, I don't particularly want to leave them with one of our shuttles.
Please don't say if this goes wrong, Captain.
Okay, I won't say it again. Transporter Chief, at your discretion.
oh,
Oh.
talk about delay.
Uh-huh.
There is a transporter roll.
I'll do the roll. Control engineering difficulty 1
You as Solok.
with a focus. I'm rolling. Elliot Cox, I guess, is the transporter chief
Okay,
here.
that is an activation, by the way.
Okay. I'll activate him.
And you get something.
Oh, give him a value. I promise
Yeah.
not to scatter Vogel's ashes.
It's a good engineering value.
Keeping molecules in one piece.
Vogel would appreciate it.
I'll just say keeping your eye on the ball. How about that? That's kind of in line with what you just said, Captain, right?
So Elliot
Yes.
Cox likes baseball.
I keep my eye on the task at hand. How about that?
Look up the mission statement for Frontier Airlines and let him use that. Or Boeing, one of the two.
How about perfection is a never-ending process?
Sure.
All right. Let's make a note here. Save. Okay. Task is control engineering.
Yep, difficulty 1 because you're going from a pad to not a pad.
Sure. Use the transporter focus and rolls.
2
Then
dice.
you needed the ship.
Yeah, it's 2 dice for the ship because sensors. Engineering.
The ship. Ship. Sensors engineering. Task 2 die. Focus.
Almost a complication.
I know you were feeling it there. You're
Gain
getting
0.
excited.
Complicated. Vogel gets a rash.
Oh, it's a great animation.
You do not own a token with vision in this scene.
Do not own any token. Yeah.
You cannot see shit. By the way, the transporter chief looks like McSteamy from Grey's Anatomy. Just FYI.
Oddly enough, I just started rewatching that.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I forgot the actor's name.
So we had Hale, and then who was the other one?
Johnson, the security person.
That's just great.
And as
As
soon as
you
Vogel materializes, she is going to try to make sure she has all her fingers and toes.
as you beam in, it seems like everyone is taken aback a bit. Like, as the one is like, I that is very interesting. Uh, Something I only thought in the old TV shows. Welcome to Havia. I am Secretary Lanny. I will be your guide to our capital, Havius, down on the surface below. This is Ambassador Kyler. Chief Engineer Letos. He is the in charge of the ring. Obviously, we do have a guard here for protection, but welcome.
Understandable. Well, thank you. Thank you for your welcome. Um, I'm Captain David Perone. This is my helm officer, Ensign Vogel, Science Officer Lieutenant Rye, our one of our cultural experts and counselor, Lieutenant Hale, and as you say, security officer, Ensign Johansson.
And she does kind of like a slight bow. Pleasure to meet all of you. Please, right this way. I'll guide you towards the elevators.
Thank you. Could you tell us something about this ring facility? This is both fascinating and beautiful.
Uh, the Lila speaks up. Yes, it's a private achievement. We just completed it. Oh, a few decades ago. Been working on it for, well, since my great grandfather started working on this project. It's an honor that I get to be the chief engineer of it.
I imagine it is most impressive. Does it use it for energy collection, or do you have living habitats up here?
We have a few scientific laboratories as well as some hydroponics, and then obviously crew quarters to maintain the ring structure throughout its entire diameter. It's, well, say it's a never ending process, though we do have several automation tools in place.
Of course. So, well, as we walk, can you tell me a little bit about yourselves? Your system is very interesting. We're not accustomed to making first contact with worlds that have already developed planetary shielding. Does your system experience a lot of meteor impacts?
He looks to the secretary. She kind of goes, just kind of gives a slight nod. No, it's more. It is though designed for protection against our star. See, the magnetic field around our planet. We had a we would call it pulse shift, and disrupted the magnetic fields and brought about a calamity on our world. So we devised a planetary shield system to help reclaim our world instead of living in domes.
Oh, fascinating.
So you built this facility, this shield around your planet to protect you from your own sun? Johnson says.
Yes, we created this ring system to protect our planet. Ambassador Collar speaks up. If you don't mind, Secretary. It is an honor to meet all of you. As our chief engineer said, the ring was created out of necessity. Our planet was, as he says, was suffering great calamity and caused the death of nearly half of the population on our world, causing all of our world governments to unify into, well, we refer to it as the Council.
What was the danger from your star? If you don't mind me asking.
The secretary speaks up. Increased solar radiation. It causes cancer-inducing elements, and as well as a wide variety of mutations and illnesses, which have all been corrected over the centuries. We predict it'll still be several more centuries before the shield should remain up before our planet's magnetosphere heals itself.
That is the most ingenious and impressive solution to the problem. I applaud your world's ingenuity. We find that it's common on many worlds that some sort of planet-wide calamity brings a planet together. It almost seems like through struggle we gain relationship with others of our own kind and start to find common interest. And then we take that common interest to the stars. To be honest, I tell you, we found it quite curious that your world's technology is quite advanced for a world just now achieving faster than light travel.
Secretary speaks. We devoted ourselves to the development of the ring structure. It seemed to be the more top priority. That and solving the other medical needs of our people than venturing out to the stars. The proposal of warp speed has been a ongoing theoretical for quite some time among our people. Many thought that we should embark on finding a new home, but we decided to endeavor to keep our place here among the stars.
Well, it certainly seemed that your priorities, you had your priorities in the right order. It's always health and safety of the people should be the first priority. But we're glad to see that you're able now to reach out beyond your system. Our policy in the United Federation of Planets is for non-interference with the normal development of other worlds until they reach faster than light travel, which is why we are contacting you now.
I see. A very prudent protocol.
Well, we feel that it is unfair and unjust to interfere with the natural development of the worlds. It alters the way their culture evolves. It changes them in ways that are unpredictable. In some cases, it can advance a civilization technologically before they're ready for it. My own world, for example, we came fairly close to destroying ourselves had we discovered matter antimatter uh, propulsion systems and weapons before we were ready for it. We probably would have killed ourselves off.
Intriguing. I would like to learn more about your culture, says Secretary. If you don't mind, I would love a sample of your any cultural databases you wish to share.
That is something we can talk about, an exchange of information. We are interested in your people in the same manner. We look forward to that exchange, and as well the opportunity to introduce you to the wider galaxy. As I told your minister when we announced ourselves, that we represent a federation of 207 different planets, each with its own unique culture. But we form together in a single republic-style government, which we call the United Federation of Planets. Each world within the Federation governs itself, but also participates in the overall government of the Federation. We unite towards uh, common defense, common trade, diplomatic resolution of conflicts between worlds. It is a beneficial arrangement for all worlds involved.
I see. It almost seems like a interesting form of government, though there has been similars on our world. Those have been long. How should I put this? Well, had vanished long ago on our planet. We no longer. We tend to value efficiency more than anything else.
That Perone smiles and says, then you will get along well with the Vulcan people. My science officer, Lieutenant Rye, is half Vulcan. When the opportunity presents itself, I will have to introduce you to my chief engineer, who is a full Vulcan. I have a feeling that you two will get along quite well if you value efficiency.
As you walk down the corridors and you eventually make it towards a um, elevator and you start going down, the ride is relatively very smooth and quite fast. The elevator, you see the stars and you see descend below the cloud lines, and eventually you see a view uh, of a shining utopia-like city.
Perone will remark to the ambassador, to Ambassador Kyler, your world is quite lovely.
Thank you. We've done a great deal of try to reclaim most of it. Many species were lost during the pole shift.
You mentioned other species lost. You're talking about flora and fauna, or
Animal as well.
so tell me, what was your world like before you came together into a unified single government?
Some information was lost. There was a brief period of time that chaos um, inflicted the lands. Many governments waged war on each other during that time until it was no longer um, advantageous to claim, but rather to work together.
and is a common theme across the galaxy. Even our quite efficient, logical Vulcans had their own period of conflict. It is a mark of growth and evolution in a society and a culture when they grow beyond it. We're quite pleased to make your acquaintance in this time. Of course, we often find that most planets don't achieve faster than light travel until they have unified under a single government. There are some exceptions. Usually it takes the people to come together, like you have, before an advancement gets that far. Honestly, quite honestly, that's to their benefit, as it was to us.
It is good to know that so many other species out there um, embark on similar trends, such as ours.
Well, it's the commonalities, the commonalities between the different worlds that bring us together. It's always good to find common ground in which we can agree and build a foundation of friendship. I'm curious. Have your people? And certainly I do not. I understand you are prioritizing the ring and the planetary shields, but have you? How much speculation have you done about life beyond your solar system?
Our scientific academy has theorized for several generations now that there is life beyond our stars. We've even detected um, other habitable worlds nearby. We assume that there potentially was life. It was unclear whether or not there was intelligent life.
And I certain that we can introduce you to your closest neighbors and uh, share star charts, give you an idea of what's out there.
That would be most helpful. I'm sure the science director will love that.
Perron will look over to look over at his helmsman and say, Volga, what are the closest Class M planets to this system? Silence as the two GMs put their heads together and look at a map.
I know, right? You said star, right?
Yeah, the different star system. It's kind of what's in their immediate neighborhood. Curious as to what habitable Class M planets are in the area, and if any of them are populated.
There is a planetary system, Sigma Gamma Beta, approximately 5.6 light years from here, that supports a M-class moon.
Has anybody laid claim to that world?
Recalling from my memory.
I know Perron's putting her on the spot. Like,
Not any that I know, but there's always the potential of pirate activity in the sector.
It does happen, but not a bad, not altogether not a bad target for an initial exploration. I find that most species like to get out and to enjoy the wonder of exploration without folks just telling you where everything is.
I am curious, Ambassador. How did your first faster than light test run go?
The ambassador looks to the secretary and says, like, I think I can answer that question. The ambassador is not privy to that information, but our first test went remarkably well. We achieved the satisfactory means for the potentially help or in developing larger craft that will allow us to take us to some of the nearest stars. The smaller test was to help our automation drones to gather resources within the system more efficiently, so we may expand out our cities more on the planet and reclaim more of our world, and as well as potential engineering project on the fifth planet.
Interesting. If I might ask, your FTL drive, your warp drive, uh, powered by matter antimatter reaction or something else?
The first test was done with fusion cells.
Interesting.
It proved to be a bit more of a stable form for temporary means. Though we have been experimenting with matter antimatter reactors and hope to produce larger vessels in the near future.
Well, as we get to know each other and exchange information, one of the things that we tend to help folks with is finding ways to power their warp drives in a safe manner. Most species use matter antimatter drives, though there is a species out there that uses contained microsingularities to power their drives. It's quite fascinating. I almost understand the science behind it. Almost.
Intriguing, though the concept does escape me a bit. That might be one more for the science minister.
But here I am, just quizzing you incessantly about your world, and we are understandably curious. But you must have plenty of questions for us as we finish our travel down to the surface.
I'm sure the council has many questions for you. We could stop here when you guys arrive down onto the surface and continue this next week, or we go a little bit longer. It is up to you.
That'd be good for me because I got to go make dinner.
Yeah, that sounds like a good breaking point, and Perone is running out of diplomatic small talk. I have been vamping on that as hard as I can for 20 minutes.
No, it's been good.
I was impressed.
It's been impressive.
All right. With that, though, I think we will end this as part one of Under the Perfect Sky.